Welcome to Wednesday, March 25th Math Examples from the Worksheets. So just keep in mind, you want to make sure that when you're answering these, that you're being organized. So please put down what page you're using. Now for Wednesday, you need to start on page 9, right? And you need to do at least the must on page 9, 10, 11, and 12. That's today's work. If you're bored, or you want to, or you're interested in math, which is amazing, you are of course welcome to do the should and the could. I will be marking all of the work that you do, so try your best. So take a look at page 9. Let's talk about proportions and how you should be answering these in your notebook. So on page 9, you've got the must, which is 1 to 16. And you've got kind of fill in the blanks, find the missing numbers. Remember, you got to answer these in your notebook, please. So let's just do number 1. I've got 3 times something, and 4 times something will equal 9 over 12. So if you look down your 3's till you get to 9 on your multiplication chart, you'll notice that 3 times 3, which means whatever you do to the top, you have to do to the bottom. And now you've solved your proportion, you've filled in the blanks. Let's also do number 3. For number 3, I've got 10 divided by something, and 15 divided by something equals a proportion of 2 over 3. So, using your multiplication chart, again, this is going to work the same way, just opposites this time. Instead, you look down your 3's to find 9. This time you're going to look down your 2's to find 10. And that way, you can still work with your multiplication chart even though we're doing a division, because they work the same way. So, look down your 2's till you get to 10, and you realize that 10 divided by 5 is 2, or 2 times 5 is 10. Same thing, whatever you do to the top, you have to do to the bottom. That's what makes the proportion true. So that's how you should be answering those ones. And if you take a look, we're going to skip on down to number 13. So on number 13, this time it's written as a proportion. I've got 11 to 12 equals 44 to something. So you look down your 11s until you get to 44, and you look to the side and you think, okay, I need to multiply that by 4 to get my 44. So whatever you do to the 11, you have to do to the 12 to find your missing number. So 12 times 4 is 48. All right, take a look at the next page, page 10. I'm going to move the board. Don't forget you can pause these videos anytime you need to, so that if you need to copy off the board. So we're on page 10 now. Don't forget, please be organized. So on page 10, let's talk about how it says on the very first one, state whether or not the ratios are equal. So this is how I want you to write that down. So you got number 1, 4 over 5 equals 8 over 10. So I want you to write them down. I know they have a comma on the paper. Don't use a comma, that's not a math symbol. Use the equal sign and then indicate if they are equal or not. So 4 over 5, 8 over 10, is it equal? Well, 4 turned into 10, that's times by 2. 5 turned into 10, that's times by 2. If these are the same calculations, then it's equal. So you just leave it alone. Take a look at number 2. I have 2 over 3 equals 5 over 9. Now, 3 into 9 3 times 3. But if I did the same thing at the top, I wouldn't get 5. So this is not a proportion. It is not equal. So that's what I want you to write down. When you find a proportion in your work, and they're going to ask you a lot of times, are these equal or not? When you find a proportion in your work that's not equal, you just put a line through the equal sign. That's all you got to do. All right, let's take a look down at the bottom of, well, it's more like the middle, page 10. We're still on page 10. Question number 22. They're often going to ask you to work with it in words. And sometimes that can be a little bit confusing because you're not used to working with math with words in the middle as well. So let's make it simple for you. And you can just kind of insert the symbols to make it a little bit easier. So if you take a look, 1 is to 3 as 4 is to something. We don't know, we have to figure it out. So remember, you can change this to a ratio that makes more sense to you. 1 is to 3 as, which really means equals, whoops, is to something. So if you find it easier to work with just the numbers and the symbols, then change it up. When you end up with the ones with the words, rewrite it as a math. It's totally fine. So 1 turned into 4, I would have to multiply by 4, which means whatever I do to one part of my ratio, I have to do the same thing to the other part of the ratio. 1 times 4 is 4. 3 times 4 is 12. So that's solving my proportion right there. My missing number is 12. 1 is to 3 as 4 is to 12. So that's how you solve these ones. Like I say, make it easier on yourself. You can always rewrite it as actual ratio if you find it easier to work that way. All right, we're going to skip on over to page 11. And yeah, I want you to look at number 18. So number 18 on page 11. Gonna check my time. Okay. Got 2 minutes. 2 minutes to get this done. So on page 11, number 18, I have 3 to 5 equals, and then I have an x to 75. Now, we've seen letters before when we were working with formula. All it means is it's an unknown. It's an empty space that you need to fill with the right number. So just like up here on the other examples, they had like a box. That's what the X means. It's just a box. It's a thing we don't know. So don't get confused and concerned when you see it. It's not the end of the world. It's just the thing you need to fill in with the right number. So 5 into 75, and then 3 into whatever to turn it into X. So if you don't know how many times can 5 go into 75, to figure out how did we turn 5 into 75, do an outside calculation. 5 goes into 7 one time, with 2 left over. 5 goes into 25 5 times, with 0 left over. So I know that 5 times 15 is going to get me 75, because that's the 15, right? 5 times 15 is 75. 75 divided by 5 is 15. So that means I have to times the 3 with 15 to find out what X is. 3 times 15 is 45. So you can rewrite it or you can just write X equals 45.